Hey everyone, welcome back. This is a showcase video, I don't do this very often, of the Quasar Fire-class cruiser carrier, the Imperial model, from Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Squadrons, and I think that's about it really. Not overly featured. It was originally in Legends, a little bit different, where the kind of 4 sections here were all just one big one. But yeah, I like this model. I will say straight away that this particular build is based off orthographic images made by Raven Deviant on deviantart.com. They make some really great models and the kind of orthographic projections to go along with them, so yeah, thanks to them for this. So this is just a kind of brief overview on what we've got here. This started in about 2021, maybe the end of it, and I've kind of left it at kind of like halfway point for obviously like 2 years now, and finally have just gone back and finished this. Hope you enjoyed the cinematic showcase at the start of the video. It's always nice to do something a bit different, I suppose. So yeah, this won't get a tutorial. I want to say that straight away before people start asking. It's just too big. It would take way too long. And I know other people may have done tutorials, but remember I do narration as well, which obviously adds a lot to the kind of experience. So I'll go over just a few sections of the build. Obviously you should have seen most of it in the showcase, but I thought I'd just highlight a few areas that I liked or found tricky that I want to kind of go into detail about. So we're going to start up at the very front here. This is actually one of the final sections that got completed, was the kind of head section here. While building this, I found something very funny, where this this front cockpit area, and this is genuinely what it looks like on the model and in the show. It looks like a guy with his mouth open. That's his mouth there, and that's his eyes, and those are like his ears, I guess. Once you see it, you can't really unsee it. So yeah, definitely go back and have a look at references from the show, because it is there, and it's rather funny. But yeah, this was one of the last parts I did, mainly because it was just a struggle. Like, all these angles down here were just ridiculously difficult to do. But I eventually got it to a state where I think I like it. There is no interior cockpit here. I just didn't make one. Simple explanation. Main focus was on the hangars, which we'll get to, because I'm really proud of how they came out. Like, one of my best interior works I've ever done. Because I don't often do like in-depth interiors. Maybe if it's like a cockpit or something, I'll do it, but never anything to this extent. But with this build being how it is, with the massive open hangars, you kind of got to. So yeah, that's the front area there. Like I said, you got detail on the underside, all the stone brick lines and stuff you see. So there's different types of stone line, I guess. You got like the singular lines like this. These are meant to be like hull seams, and all of these were done by hand, is what I'm trying to say. Like, all of these hull seams were done by hand. You'll see them all the way across the build. Some bigger ones down on these big open sections, but yeah. Then you've got like the little splodges here, and that's just meant to be kind of areas where the paintwork's gone a bit darker or smudged. Maybe there's been gunfire, or not gunfire, but laser weapons may have scratched the hull here, and they've had to kind of repair it a little bit. So yeah, it just all adds to the character of the build. You'll see these little turrets sprinkled all over as well. They're meant to be like little ball turrets with 2 weapons on there. These ones are sideways, and then there's some vertical ones there, down here, and then also on the top side over there. You can't fit anyone inside them. They're just too small, but they're just nice to add, again, a bit more character to the build. So that's kind of the front section. And yeah, this was probably one of the trickiest parts of the build, really. Then you've got these kind of like, I don't know what to call it. I assume like this bit here, these things there, and there's the third one there, are all to support this massive superstructure. And I definitely read somewhere that this ship does suffer from like surface kind of like fractures when it exits hyperspace, which is to be expected. I mean, this giant front section is just so skeletal in nature. But yeah, I assume things like this big boom arm thing, are to help remedy that, and also to connect this front section here, so maybe it doesn't get tore off during hyperspace travel. All this area here with the kind of spine, definitely is a kind of spine. A lot of detail went into that. Again, that was pretty tricky. A lot of measurements, and just, you know, a lot of kind of, like I said, measuring things out, making sure everything's in line with each other. These bits here were a bit weird, these kind of like arms, because you'd expect it to be symmetrical from kind of the middle of that to up there, and then the middle of that to the other side as well. But it just isn't. Like, that one's obviously longer than that one. So it's all just a fun building experience. And even these large sections here that actually hold up the top section aren't symmetrical left to right. So you can see that one's kind of flat, goes up to there, whereas this one is a lot more sloped and slopes further inwards. So yeah, you've got like 3 of those in total, and then you reach the hangars here. We're going to come back to the hangars in a minute. And you've just got this kind of large slope section, which again would support the top superstructure, plus that one there which connects the kind of spine to the hangar area. Again, you can see under here a lot of hull line details. You've got some more significant bits here with lights. You'll see these lights all over, the white stained glass and the frog light. I can't remember which particular one it is, but it's a purple-ish one. Anywhere you see cyan, again, that's a different type of hull detailing, just a little bit darker. Just again, it might be an area where the design on the ship is the reason that's there, or it might again be due to repairs. With it being symmetrical though, I think it might be part of the design. A lot of these hull lines were taken directly from Raven Deviant's model, where I just copied them by measuring how far along they were and how wide they were. But then some of them are just freehand, so like a lot of these here, just freehand, just to add a bit more personality and character to the build. Some more just singular lines down there, which help to just break up the solid colours a bit, and I think it came out really nicely. You'll see all over the materials are obviously a bit like varied. For the most part, I've used stone and andesite as a mix. I didn't go too complicated with the materials. I did originally add cobblestone in there as well, but I just think it made it a bit messy. So I ended up taking that off. So I'll come back to the hangars shortly. Starting from the side bits here, this was another difficult part. Was adding all the details in here. You've got like some red details there, some red lights here as well. You've got these bits that stick out a little bit, and it just took a while to get those right, because I think the end ones are the same as each other, so you can copy them over, but the middle one is at a different angle, so you have to build it completely different, which is just a pain. And then on the top side, we'll just do the top side here before we move to the hangars. You can see just hull lines and detail lines all over. It's kind of got like a weird mustache almost on the front, but again, I've just copied that directly from the model. So yeah, you got like 3 little things down here, some nice red light detail on the front, and yeah, again, just lines all over really, and little hull indents with like lights and stuff like that. Again, back to here, same thing. You'll see areas where there's like stone bricks and polished andesite mix. That's again just meant to be very slightly darker than the areas like this, where it's just stone and andesite. So yeah, and then on this top section here, this raised bit, this was really hard to do with the lines. It was quite similar to the Star Destroyer in that respect, where it's just yeah, a lot of difficult angles. I did originally have this covered in like iron trapdoors to help smooth out those slopes and also carpets, but it just didn't look right, so I took them off. Again, more details. You've got this big like pit area here that's once again packed full of little details. And yeah, that's it for the top side really. Just again, big like detail area here, another turret, and then the slope up to the engines. I'll go over the engines now before we move on to the hangar, because I'm going to leave that till last, I think. So these were incredibly difficult to do, because I can never actually tell from any of the references how far in the engine like pits are meant to go. Like this area here, Never know how deep this was meant to be, and I did have to guess, but I think based on using about 17 different references, I think I got it almost right. I know there is one thing on here that isn't 100% correct, and I will just tell you what that is. So this area here, the kind of slope upwards from this big block, is kind of meant to go a bit further towards this end bit, and it should sort of swallow this round section up a little bit more, but it doesn't. But that's okay, I kind of like having the completed round section anyway, and it just adds a bit more depth in there. So I don't mind, and I'm just not going to change it, to be honest. But yeah, that's the big main engine. Again, it's not like you can just copy this and size it up. I did have to build this by hand. And I think this engine view is really fantastic. So yeah, really happy with how that came out. We'll move to the underside now. Again, just packed full of detail. I didn't just leave the underside like without details. Once again, Raven Deviant does provide even the underside orthographics, which is really great because you can just, again, measure up where the lines are. Again, sometimes I went a bit freehand with it, but some of the bigger blotches are genuinely on that model. So, yeah. I do like these little bits here, where it just adds a little bit more texture to the thing, and it just kind of completes it, to be honest. So yeah, we'll move on to the interior. I'm going to break my way in there because there isn't actually a way in as of yet. So we destroy those. These are meant to be kind of the impression of the big, I can't remember what you call them, but yeah, it's kind of doors you'd have on the Star Destroyer. So yeah, packed full of detail. You've got custom banners, things like that. It's just, I went all out with it. Roof detailing up there. You've got the bars where ships would hang from. You've even got some TIE fighters up here. These are my 1:1 scale TIE fighter from the tutorials. However, there is a little change, which is the open hatch. It's just a birch trapdoor, and I'll tell you now if you want to do this to your TIE fighters. This is a light grey banner with black paint. I've never even heard that. Black pally, I don't know. Light grey bordure and light grey pale. So you can do that yourself if you like. And it just means you've got an open hatch, which is pretty cool. So you've got the walkways up here. These don't lead to like the walkway in the next hangar, but yeah, it's fine. Then you've got these doors here. They don't go anywhere. There's nothing back there. You can't actually fit much back there because it basically rubs up against that engine wall. So if I try and get back there, yeah, so that's the engine wall. So you could maybe have a corridor or something, but that's going to be about it. And then you've got this kind of interior hangar kind of overview room, probably like a control room or something. There's nothing in there, but I'm sure you could add something in if you wanted to. As mentioned in the start of the video, this build is available on my web store, so make sure to check that out if you want it. It will be, I don't know how much it will be. It'll be about, I don't know. I'm not gonna say a price. It's not for free. Maybe in the future it will be, or I'll give it out as a reward for something. But for now, it will be purchasable. Everything that you see here is what you'll get, including the TIE fighters up there as well. But yeah, all of this will be a schematic. Obviously, just make sure you've got room in your world to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the interior now. We're going to do another quick overview. We will move on to the next section after this, which is just going to be a sort of time, well, not time lapse, but a sort of build process overview, where I will show pictures from the development of the build. Unlike in previous ones, there isn't that many pictures of like the early stages. I think I pretty much did like the whole hangar area and then this front section, or at least the base version of it, before I even took any pictures. So yeah, you'll see that in a minute when we move on to that, but just it's not as in-depth as like the Arquitans showcase. So yeah, I'm just doing one quick other turnaround and then we'll move on to that. Just really happy with how this came out, and please let me know what big build I should work on next. I know a lot of people have been asking for the First Order Star Destroyer, which is the Resurgent, I think. I've also been working on a Interdictor in 1 to 10. scale, and they've got some other big projects. Still need to finish the Executor, but we'll see about that. So yeah, that's going to be it for the kind of fly through and kind of casual showcase. So let's move on to the final section, which is just going to be some work in progress images. And this will be it for my narration, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And yeah, enjoy. Hey guys, before the video ends, I just wanted to let you know about my new schematic store. This is a place where you can download builds from the past, from tutorials that are out now, and even preview builds from the future. Link is in the description, go and have a look, see if there's anything you like, and yeah, see ya.